good rule of thumb is to start with thank yous. I'd like to thank the ITA, the Intercollegiate Tennis Association, the governing body of college tennis, and their Director of Coach Education, Lauren Conchi, as well as all the coaches and all the players that you'll see on this training tape, instructional tape. Previously, Dave Secker, one of the tennis coaches at NC State, and I, we made 4 training tapes for Lauren to share with ITA coaches. During that time, we discussed making a tape for summer tennis camp staffs, and that's what this tape is all about. Just sharing ideas, information, insights from tennis teachers that we've learned from over the years. The information is fact-based and is focused on long-term development. With that, I hope you enjoy the tape, hope you find it to be beneficial, and I hope you have a great summer hitting tennis balls.
Hi, my name is Ivan, and I'll be going over some core tennis information. Let's start with the parts of the racket. You have the head of the racket, the face of the racket, you have the throat of the racket, tip of the racket, you have the edge of the racket, the grip of the racket, and the butt of the racket. Now let's go over the grip. Every racket has 8 sides, 8 bevels. You turn the racket 8 times, it goes in a full circle. That's 360 degrees. 360 divided by 8 is 45. Every time you change your grip by 1 bevel, the racket face opens up by 45 degrees. So if this is 1 grip and the ball goes in, I change by 1 bevel, racket face opens up by 45, same swing path, now the ball goes out. So it's important we know the grips that we're talking about. So we're going to give them a numbering system. Numbering system goes like this. We go down the edge of the racket. We're going to call that grip number 1. To the right, we're going to make that grip number 2. To the right of that, grip number 3. Grip 3 relates to the racket face. To the left of one, we're going to put 2L. To the left of that, 3L. L represents the left hand. Okay, this is from the perspective of righties, so lefties would just make the reversal. Reference points. On my right hand, base knuckle of the index finger, pad of the palm. Heel pad of the palm right there. Same on my left hand. Okay, those 2 reference points, they form a straight line. Now let's talk about the grips for the different swings, for the different strokes. We put B for backhand on the first bevel here. That's going to be a dot as well on the right side of number 1. That's going to be for your backhand. So you're going to put that line on the right side of number 1. This is going to be your grip for your one-handed backhand volley, two-handed backhand volley, topspin backhand, two-handed, one-handed, and your underspin or slice. Okay, so it's a grip of a lifetime. All the strokes on the left side of your body for righties, we're going to have the grip here on the right side of number 1 for your right hand. Okay, keeping with the right hand, we're going to move to the right is S. S is for serve and for overhead. This grip's going to be continental. It's going to be for your serve and for your overhead. Moving on from the serve between 2 and 3, almost continental, we have the composite grip. It's made of 2 parts. Used to be known as the Australian grip. Okay, we're going to put our reference line between 2 and 3. That's going to be for the forehand volley. Moving to the right, we have F for forehand. Okay, so that reference line, same one, both points going to be on 3. It's going to be your ready position and how you turn for your forehand. Then if you elect to do so, you can move the base knuckle of your index finger to the bottom of 3, and that's going to be represented as a letter G for ground stroke for added topspin. Now your left hand for your two-handed backhand volley, two-handed backhand ground stroke is going to be 2HB on the 3rd panel to the left. All right, so those 2 reference points are going to lie on 3. These 2 reference points on my right hand are going to lie on right side of number 1. So this is my grip. These are my grips for my two-handed backhand ground stroke, two-handed backhand volley. This is also, when I move my left hand off, this is my one-handed backhand volley. This is my underspin or slice, and if you have a one-handed backhand ground stroke, topspin, this is also the grip for it, okay? On 2, as a review, 2 is going to be serve and overhead. Between 2 and 3, forehand volley. On 3 is your ready position. You turn for your forehand ground stroke. And if you choose to do so, base knuckle, index finger goes to the bottom of 3 for your ground stroke. You don't want to have a hammer grip where your fingers are bunched together like this. You'd be better off to splay out your fingers. Finger, 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 thumb, finger. Don't hold on to the racket tight. Have the bottom part of your hand be even with the bottom part of your racket for more racket head maneuverability and control. A tennis court is an optical illusion. Here are 3 representations of the tennis court. I'd like you to choose what you believe to be the correct representation. If you thought it was the one on the right, you'd be correct. Now, let's talk about the realities of a tennis court. The reality is, if you couldn't see through the net, if the net wasn't transparent, you'd have to be over 6'7" to see any part of the court over the net. Since most players see the court through the net, they think the court is gigantic. They think their targets are really wide and low to the ground, when in fact, their target is small and elevated, much like in basketball. The biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes that players make is they don't get their racket far enough below the ball. The downswing creates the upswing. You want to increase the upward angle of the trajectory of the racket to really be able to achieve true topspin. Now let's talk about the dimensions of the tennis court. The court is 3 feet short of being 3 times longer than it is wide. It's really a game of hitting straight line shots. What most players don't know is if you hit cross court, you have 4.5 more feet to hit into than if you were to hit down the line. Now for reference, 4.5 feet is the width of an alley. Now the ball is on the strings 3 to 6 milliseconds. For reference, if you slap yourself on the thigh, it takes about 70 milliseconds for your brain to register the hit. So by the time you feel the contact with the ball's already gone about 7 to 11 feet out in front of you. You can use these dimensions to figure out the angles of a tennis court. Now, if the rules allowed you to, you could reach over the net, you could hit left, you could hit right, and you'd have 180 degrees of potential volleying angle. 3 feet from the net, you'd have about 130 degrees. 10.5 feet back, that's halfway between the net and the service line, we call that GVP, good volleying position. You have about 30 degrees of potential volleying angle. At the baseline, you have less than 20, 19.6 in the middle, 19.1 off to the corner. The further behind the baseline you go, even less angle you have. That's why players should strive to have an all-court game to take advantage of the increasing potential volleying angle they have the closer you get to the net. You want to match the shape of the swing to the shape of the court. Circular swing for circular spin. A hitting zone is the area through space at which your strings are aligned to the target. As a player, you want to do your absolute best to have the longest possible hitting zone to give you the best chance of hitting the target. Tennis is a game of hitting targets. There are 3 types of swing patterns. You have a pushing motion for the volleys, lifting motion for the ground strokes, throwing motion for the overhead and the serve. Whenever you talk about a stroke, you should keep in mind 3 things: the grip, the swing, and the body. On the serve, we add one more component, that'd be the toss. Now, a quote from one of our greatest mentors: "The dimensions of the court and physical laws dictate stroke production, not any coach's opinion or any unique theory." If you'd like more information, please visit the website, GreatBaseTennis.com. Along with many other amazing resources, we have 5 free educational courses that teach you fact-based instruction for long-term development.
I'm Steve, this is Aaron, this is Netta, and they're going to help me show the Welby Van Horn body balance position for tennis. So Aaron's a lefty. If you turn around, Aaron, this way, put your hands on your hips. We'll do this without the racket first and with the racket. Now, Welby Van Horn, his book is on our website, written by Ed Weiss. Do this to start off in teaching technique. All right, diagonal pivot with a diagonal step for a forehand volley. Go ahead, step. Now you have your anchor foot, your adjustment foot. Player's at a 45-degree angle. You push the player and they're not going anywhere. All right, ready position. Now for a basic forehand drive, make a lateral pivot like you're stopping a soccer ball. High center of gravity, you're standing up tall. And you're up on your toe. Now, there's many different stances on the forehand, but right now the conventional basic stance is step straight ahead, sit, twist up, lift, 3/8 system of balance. And then you turn all the way in so your hips are forward. The heel represents weight transfer, the hips, body rotation, and the head being evenly distributed between the shoulders is balance. All right, ready position. In the ready position, very important, feet are straight ahead. So if I were to push either player, they're going to be able to run. You don't want to have players be in this position. Land like a cat, don't stand like a duck. All right, so for the two-handed backhand volley, it's exactly the same as the forehand. So say, for example, I'm right-handed, the two-handed backhand volley is a left-handed forehand volley. So make a diagonal pivot for the two-handed backhand volley. Now make a diagonal step. So it's the same thing, anchor foot, adjustment foot, 45-degree angle. Her own head is in front of her stepping foot. Okay, ready position. Okay, now for the two-handed backhand. So lateral pivot. Okay. Standing up tall, high center of gravity. The body and racket would go down together, synchronization. Now sit and lift. And twist up. All right, very good. Now, let's go to the one-handed backhand volley. Ready position. The difference is you're going to stay sideways. Instead of being at a 45, you're going to be at a 90. Diagonal pivot, step and stay sideways. Weight is forward. It's a line. The lower body, upper body, make a diagonal line going forward. Now the one-handed backhand, whether it's underspin or topspin, ready position. Make a lateral pivot. Now we know there's more lifting on a topspin backhand, but they're going to step and stay sideways. Go ahead. Now, Welby would have people do this with their hands on their hips and then do it actually with their arms, and he would say hand-to-hand forms a line like this. And then we go slowly with the racket and we check the checkpoints. All right, so now the backhand volley is low. Let's do that again. Ready position. One-handed backhand volley, diagonal pivot, and step and stay low. Go ahead. All right, now with the underspin backhand, you don't lift as much as topspin, but you finish up high. So ready position. The one-handed backhand or slice, lateral pivot, and you need to get more than sideways to stay sideways on a one-hander. So they're going to step and stay sideways and lean forward. Go ahead. So the body leans forward. If the body leans back, the racket face leans back. It's uncanny how the body will match the racket. Generally, the body is the leader. All right, now for the serve and overhead. Aaron, just move back one step. All right, so you're going to step back to be sideways. Go ahead. And we certainly use other systems like Don Leary's word picture method. So what they're going to do is just go forward and stay at a 45. Go ahead. Yeah, so they're at a 45. It's lower body, upper body, arm, and racket that are at a 45. But also the body segments from the toes to the nose. So leaning in at a 45. Body segments facing at a 45. So now the serve, stay in that position. Now you could just start with your weight back and then have your weight go forward. It's just preference. We like to have people start with the weight forward and now bring your weight back and then just turn from the ground up. And then you uncoil and it's that simple. It's that simple. So the body balance position for the overhead and the serve is the same. Now what we'll do is review it with the racket in their hand. All right, now with the racket, hands way out, you put a basketball between the butt cap and the belly button, and they're looking right over the top of the racket. The racket's at a 45-degree angle. Now make a diagonal pivot for the forehand volley, and then make a diagonal step, and they're going forward. And keep in mind, this is just, teaching people a solid foundation. All right, ready position. Hands out, and we know that people will make grip adjustments. But for right now, just the shape of the swing. The volley was tabletop, linear. The ground stroke's going to be circular. But we'll do a ground stroke now. Lateral pivot. Now, from here, sit in the chair, step, sit, lift, and 3/8 system of balance. Okay, very good. Now, the ready position. It's just a ditto going to the backhand. Two-handed backhand. Two-handed backhand volley. Diagonal pivot, diagonal step. Certainly as you do that, you want to just adjust your grip slightly. So Welby Van Horn, grip, swing, body balance. Okay, then he adds the toss. Keeps it simple. Simplification is sophistication. Ready position. Now the two-handed backhand ground stroke. Very similar in relationship of strokes, in relationship of spins. Turn all the way, racket's on edge, you're standing tall. Now gravity, the racket goes down, body goes down, and you go up. It's a lifting game. Go in 3/8 system of balance. Very good. Now the one-handed backhand volley. Ready position. A diagonal pivot. Now granted, okay, one-handed, the advanced players are going to turn more, but just shape of swing, linear, tabletop, ironing board. Now separate your arms, step and go, hold, check the checkpoints, body balance, anchor foot, adjustment foot, alignment of your hands. All right, very good. Ready position. Index finger on the strings. Now for the one-handed backhand. It's very similar as far as the unit turn for the backhand volley, but now underspin, they turn. And now keep turning. And the shape of the swing, we can get into details where they lead in with the bottom edge of the racket. The arm should be relaxed and loose. But from here, just the shape of the swing, go ahead, and bird and bow, and they say hand-to-hand forms a line, and then they're sideways, and they should be looking out at the contact point. Very important where they look, because they need to control their head. So you control your head has a lot to do with balance. Now step back and set the racket up for the overhead. Go ahead. All right, so they get more than sideways to stay sideways. And now just go up and freeze at the contact point. And that's where they are at the hit. So she's at a 45-degree angle. Nose, the knees, the hips, the shoulders, and up. And then she's leaning in at a 45-degree angle. And at the end of the power line would be the toss. All right, now turn your arm out and finish. Power X. And on balance. That was Van Horn's system, balance. All right, now the serves, just keep that position. Bring your weight back to swing slowly and go around to the contact point. And where the eyes at the hit and the contact point and the balance. Now the arm turns out. All right. Thank you very much, Netta. Thank you, Aaron. That is the Welby Van Horn body balance position for teaching basic stroke production.
four. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, I'm Yvonne. This is Neda. To my right, Santino. To my left, Aaron. We're going to go over the word picture method for the serve. After I pass the mic over to Neda, Aaron and Santino, they're two lefties. They're going to turn around and they're going to show us their serve right-handed.
Skateboard, bathroom scale 1, handcuffs, cup your racket, cup of water, rock back to bathroom scale 2, mashed potatoes, cobra position, J-toss, 1 o'clock, feed the giraffe, salute, knock the books off the bookshelf, football throwing position, high five the giant, check your wristwatch, power X, into the pocket.
quote the late Dennis Vandermeer, 3 types of shots: basic shots, specialty shots, and emergency shots. Also from Dennis, the interrelationship of strokes, interrelationship of spins. It all starts from a ready position. So the framework from basic shots will carry us into specialty shots. Ned is going to help demonstrate. We'll start with a forehand volley. So Ned, if you face this way, she's just going to soften her hand, bring the racket back into her body, and she's going to hit a drop volley from the shoulder. It's not a cupping motion from the hand, but from the shoulder. Soft hand and from the shoulder, and the racket comes back into your body. Now move back to the service line. And now the drop shot, just like the drop volley, ready position, turn from the shoulder, bring the arm back into your body like you're hugging yourself. So you shorten the lever, soft hands, and you're not trying to barely hit it over the net. The ball goes a good margin, a foot over the net. Stealing the ace. We say set the racket up like a wall to the ball. It's like a volley with the added follow through. So I serve, she steals the ace. Return of serve is so important. Braden used to say, Vic Braden, similar to an approach shot. That can become a conventional approach volley. Okay, the great Jimmy Connors, take all these small little stutter steps, wait for the ball to come down where the racket faces flat, and you can hear the sound. You drive the approach volley. It's a lost art. Right, great breath out. You recognize that short ball, you analyze, you anticipate, you go. Go, go, go. She's going to hit a tabletop approach shot. Sometimes you have to hit that shot just when you're retrieving a drop shot. But it's going to be flat, like a volley with added follow through. And you can hit great length. Hey, recognize the short ball, ready, you're going to run first, crossover second, like a volley with the added follow through. Very good. Now the half volley. Tennis terminology, you could have really called it half a ground stroke. She's going to run, it's like a short hop in baseball. Ready, run, bounce, hit, go, 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 go. Now, if she's up at the net and you want to keep the ball low, she'd bring the finish this way. But right now, taking the half volley like an approach shot, hitting it deep. It's just like a ground stroke finish. Ready, go, go, go. You can make a unit turn from the ready position. You're going to open the racket face. You're going to hit a high defensive lob. So find it with your feet. High defensive lob, open racket face. Up, up, up. Get your opponent off the net. Too many juniors are hitting lobs as winners. Just get your opponent off of the net. The top spin lob. Your opponent's really close to the net. They hit a defense or a weak volley. Your racket is going to go up like it's an elevator. The forehand drive basically is going up a flight of stairs. Now you're going to turn from the ready position is you're going to lean back and be on your back foot. So top spin lob, nice and loose, touch the back. Nice and loose. Let's increase the upward angle. That's how you generate so much spin. Way up, way up, way up. Off-pace passing shot, similar to the top spin lob. The racket's going to go up like an elevator. Remember when you hit passing shots, many times the point's won on the second passing shot. So get your opponent moving, get your opponent hitting the ball really below the net, level the net, and then you can go cross court. So off-pace passing shot, again. Find it with your feet, find it with your feet. Soft hands, soft hands. Most people hang out of the racket way too tight. Okay, the one-handed underspin backhand approach shot, great tool, specialty shot. When the ball's in flight, net could be in movement. The trajectory is going to keep the ball low. Plus, she's giving your opponent less pace. So let's watch her hit that shot. Turn like a volley. You're going to swing with your arm from your shoulder. Knuckles to your target. Line it up. Okay, back to the ready position. And now all together, kinetic energy and moving. Excellent. Now back up. Just practice, practice, practice. You got to hit a million balls. Own the skill. Ready, up? Great.